सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्कराचन्द्रशेखरा गङ्गाधरा सुमनोहरा पाहि मां परमेश्वरा मृत्युञ्जय विश्वेश्वरा नीलकण्ठ भालनेत्र भस्मभूषितसुन्दरा पाहि मां करुणाकरा गिरिजेश ओंकारेश्वरा शङ्कराचन्द्रशेखरा गङ्गाधरा सुमनोहरा पाहि मां परमेश्वरा मृत्युञ्जय विश्वेश्वरा ताण्डव प्रिय जय नटेश विश्वनाथ महेश्वरा पाहि मां अभयङ्करा व्याघ्रचर्माम्बरधरा शङ्कराचन्द्रशेखरा गङ्गाधरा सुमनोहरा पाहि मां परमेश्वरा मृत्युञ्जय विश्वेश्वरा मृत्युञ्जय विश्वेश्वरा ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Let us chant up to verse number 7. ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः. अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः. क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगः. अर्जुन उवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव. श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः. क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत. क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारि यतश्च यत् यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु. ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः. महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः. इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं सङ्घातश्चेतना धृतिः सविकारमुदाहृतम्. एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन उदाहृतम् सविकारम् उदाहृतम्. Thus I have explained to you what is kshetra, Bhagavan says. So the first topic of discussion taken up is kshetra and kshetrajña. Arjuna had asked Purusha Prakriti, Kshetra Kshetrajña and Jnana Jneya. Out of that, the topic taken up first is Kshetra and Kshetrajña. So Bhagavan says, this Kshetrajña is none other than me. Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Bhagavan, how is it that you are Kshetrajña? In my experience, I find that I am the Kshetrajña, the knower of this Kshetra. So then Bhagavan said, Arjuna, you must know what is Kshetram. Yaccha yadrukcha yad vikari yatascha yat. So everything you have to know about what Kshetram is. So let me explain. So yesterday we had seen this part, the evolution of creation. So what are the stages? Briefly let us go through. The first one, avyaktam. Avyaktam. The second one, Mahat Tattvam, which is mentioned here as Buddhi. Buddhi. Avyaktam, next one Mahat Tattvam, next one Ahankara, next one Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas, next one Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas and the mind, Antakarana, and next one Sthula Pancha Mahabhuta. So totally how many factors, by the by? You will find that there are 24. So if you see here, Mahabhutani, they are Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas, 5, Ahankaraha, 6, Buddhihi, 7, Avyaktam, 8, Indriyani Dashaikam, 11. So 8 plus 11, 19. Then Panchachendriya Gocharaha, Sthula Pancha Mahabhuta. So 19 plus 5, 24. So this 24 number you will always find. Whenever we talk of Prakriti, whenever we talk of Kshetra, there are 24 principles always counted. Especially the Sankhyans, they do this. What all come under Prakriti? So they have these 24 principles. This Prakriti is none other than Kshetra only. Later on, Bhagavan himself is going to say that. Prakriti, Kshetra, they are one. Right. So these are the various stages of evolution for Kshetra. So yesterday I had said, to understand what is this Mahat Tattvam, and then Ahankara, the Avyaktam, these are the happening at the cosmic level. From the Pralaya Sthiti, the cosmos is evolving into Srishti Sthiti. So if you have to understand this, we will have to observe our own experiences in our life. Because whatever is happening in Samashti, the miniature form is happening in Vyashti also. Whatever is happening in macrocosm, the same thing you will find happening in microcosm also. For example, the planets are revolving in the sun, that is a macrocosm. What is happening inside the atom? The electrons are revolving around the proton, neutron, etc. So same thing is happening. There is a symmetry. So therefore, to understand the cosmic happenings, we will have to just observe the happenings in us. Right? So what is Pralaya for the cosmos is nothing but Sushupti for the individual. Sushupti means what? Deep sleep. Deep sleep. So now just observe what happens to us when we wake up from sleep. Just observe the stages. That sleep we can call it Avyaktam. Avyaktam means what? Not clear. That is called Vyaktam means clear. Avyaktam means not clear. So in deep sleep, this is our experience. Nothing is clear. What is not clear? Who am I? It is not clear. What are my talents and abilities? It is not clear. Whether I exist or not, alive or not, it is not clear. Where am I? Desha Kala, it is not clear. So the best word to explain our deep sleep will be Avyaktam. Nothing is clear. I don't know anything. Avyaktam. Then what happens? You end the sleep. A time comes when the sleep is over. When the sleep is over, what happens? For few seconds you are not clear who you are. Isn't it? If you observe, there is a state where you have woken up, but still it takes time to settle. From somewhere you have come, you don't know. And suddenly, sleep is gone, but there is no, that in-between state, that is called as Mahat Tattva. You find yourself as though not finding yourself also. That also I cannot say. I can only say sleep is gone. You have entered into the waking state. That much we can say. The next stage is ahankara after mahattota. What is ahankara? You start identifying with the body. Upadhishu aham iti karoti iti ahankara. Upadhishu, in this body, mind, intellect, you feel a sense of identity. This is me. That feeling is called as ahankara. So, after coming from that sleep state, there is a small duration where you take to settle down. That time is called mahattattva, we can say. Just like landing, So as long as it is flying, it is in the sushupti state. The moment it lands, it doesn't stop. It is running for some time. That we can call as mahattattva state. And once everything has settled, the flight has stopped, that we can call as ahankara state, where now you are very clear who you are. You find yourself lying down in the bed. Desha kala, everything is clear. Now you know you are where you are. You have settled. That state is called ahankara. Then what happens? After ahankara, what should come? Sukshma pancha mahabhutas. Now that you have defined yourself, that this is me, I am here, I am so and so. Once you have fully defined yourself as that individual entity, ahankara, then the mind starts functioning. What is mind? It is nothing but Sukshma pancha mahabhutas. How will the mind function? Oh, today I have such and such meetings at such and such time. I am supposed to go to office. I have, fixed up a meeting with such a person. This has to be done, that has to be done. So you start planning the day. If you observe, the mind starts planning what to do today. You are still lying down on the bed only, but the mind is planning now what to do today. All those things which you had thought about yesterday, those thoughts occupy your mind. So we can say the Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas become active. Then what happens? Now these plans, these vasanas, these desires, etc. will not allow you to lie down. You get up from the bed. Means what? Jnanendriyas and karmendriyas become active. Then what you do? You go up, freshen up and face the world. Facing the world means what? Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas become active. You see how you are unfolding from that state of sushupti to jagrat avastha. Slowly the unfolding takes place from the inner personality of yours. This is exactly what is happening at the cosmic level also. Slowly the unfoldment takes place from inside to outside. So what should happen? Okay, Pralaya, Srishti, Sthiti. What is happening in Sthiti? Sthiti means maintenance. So what do you do throughout the day? You do everything to maintain yourself. Yes or no? The whole day is occupied in yoga kshema. Trying to get what you don't have, preserving what you already have. This is called as maintenance. This is called as sthiti. Throughout the day, you are running around to maintain yourself, earning wealth, etc. It is nothing but maintenance. Then after sthiti, what should happen? Again pralaya. Now again observe how you go to sleep. What is the first thing which folds back? The external world. By night you are tired. So the first thing is you will withdraw from the active world. This is the first thing. So the external world is folded up. Then what? Then you come to your room. Means what? The physical activities you fold up. First the external activities you wind up, Then at the physical body, the activities you wind up. Now you are lying on the bed, now but the mind is still running around. Tomorrow I have to do this, etc., etc. Then what do you instruct the mind? Keep quiet. Isn't it? All those things tomorrow we will do, not now. Now I want to sleep. You give the instructions to your Sukshma Sharira. Keep quiet. So the mental activities fold up. And then you lie down. And then you are trying to dissolve your ahankara. Yes or no? Because as long as the ego is strong, you can't sleep. The ahankara is also folded up, and finally you enter back into that avyaktam stage. Isn't it? So if you see, if you observe our life's experiences, we can very clearly understand how the cosmos also, that Srishti Sthiti Laya, what is happening at the cosmic level, the same thing is happening at our individual level. So this individual level, if we analyze, we understand a lot about cosmos. Right? So with this, what you call insight, you try to understand this verse. Then it makes sense. Avyaktam, Mahattattva, Ahankara, Sukshma Pancha Mahabhutas, Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Antakarana, then Sthula Pancha Mahabhuta. See the whole unfoldment. Then Sthula Pancha Mahabhutas, then interact with the sense objects. Raga, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukha, Dhruti, Sanghata, Chetana. So all these are modifications, vikaras. So this much we have seen till now. Now let us proceed. So now what we have to understand? In our personality, the body belongs to Kshetra. The surrounding world belongs to Kshetra. The body belongs to Kshetra. The mind belongs to Kshetra. Sense organs belong to Kshetra. Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, they belong to Kshetra. The mind belongs to Kshetra. Intellect belongs to Kshetra. Ego belongs to Kshetra. There is only one thing which doesn't belong to Kshetra. What is it? The pure consciousness. The pure consciousness, the witnessing consciousness, which is called as Atma, which is called as Paramatma, which Bhagavan is saying, it is me. Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi. Now we have to understand this term called Kshetrajña. What is the word meaning Kshetrajña? Jña, the one who knows what? Kshetra. The one who knows Kshetra is called Kshetrajña. Right? Now, let us analyze the Kshetrajña. Let us say, I am doing research. So there is a piece of, say, flower petal in front of me. I have a microscope. I have, say, spectacles. I am observing that flower petal through the microscope. Now, what is Kshetra here? What is Kshetra? The field of observation, the field of study. What is Kshetra in this example? That flower petal. Yes or no? Yes. And what is Kshetrajña? What is Kshetrajña? The entire entity which is observing this petal will come under Kshetrajña. The knower of Kshetra is called Kshetrajña. Isn't it? When we say knower, everything comes into picture, including the microscope, including the spectacles. Yes or no? There is a field, there is a knower of the field. So if the field is this lotus petal, this flower petal, then everything which is a part of the knower has to be called Kshetrajña. Right? It's the grossest level. So you will be amazed that something which has nothing to do with me is also a part of Kshetrajña, knower, observer. Microscope has nothing to do with me, the physical me, but that also comes under the knower, the observer. Now give up that flower petal. Now suppose I am studying the microscope. I am paying attention to the microscope. Now microscope, what has it become? It has become the Kshetra. So my personality plus up to the spectacle, it will come under Kshetrajña. Right? That knowing entity. Right. Now microscope also let us leave. Now suppose I am paying attention to the spectacles. So what is Kshetra now? Spectacles. Right? So I am watching that spectacles. Kshetra is spectacles. I, the observer of the spectacles, become the Kshetrajña. Now, those spectacles are seen by my eyes. Suppose I am paying attention to those eyes. How can I pay attention to my eyes? Through the mind. Yes or no? With the eyes, I cannot see the eye. So there has to be some other entity which has to observe the eye. So the moment I start paying attention to my eyes, eyes become the Kshetra and the mind becomes the Kshetrajña. See the definition of Kshetrajña. Knower of Kshetra is called Kshetrajña. Now, suppose the mind becomes the object of study and I am studying my mind using my intellect. So mind becomes the Kshetra, intellect becomes the Kshetrajña. Now, I am observing that intellect with my ego, the ahankara. Now what happens? Intellect becomes the Kshetra, the ego becomes the Kshetrajña. Now that final stage where I am just witnessing my ego. Is it possible? Is it possible to witness the ego? Of course yes. Why? Because ego is nothing but a wrong notion about myself. It is nothing but a bundle of notion, bundle of thoughts about myself. Any thought can be witnessed, therefore ego also can be witnessed. In Upadeshasara, this ego is called Aham Vritti. Aham Vritti. So who is the observer of Aham Vritti? The pure Aham, the Atma, the pure consciousness is the witness of this Aham Vritti, this ego. Right? So the pure consciousness in me is witnessing this ego. Now this ego is the Kshetra, the pure consciousness is the Kshetrajña. Now, can you go one more step ahead? No. The pure consciousness is the ultimate observer, is the ultimate knower, that knower which can never become known. Kshetrajña is that ultimate Kshetrajña which can never become Kshetra. Kshetrajña is that ultimate drashta which can never become drishya. Is it clear? That pure consciousness which can never become a drishya vastu, which is always drashta, is that ultimate Kshetrajña. Why are we calling it ultimate Kshetrajña? We are calling it ultimate Kshetrajña because it knows all Kshetras. Kshetrajña, knower. It's the absolute knower, perfect knower, complete knower of what? Of all Kshetras. Why is it able to know all Kshetras? It is able to know all Kshetras because all Kshetras are Drishya Vastu for this Kshetrajña. Clear? So we are talking of Kshetrajña now, the ultimate Kshetrajña. Absolutely pure Kshetrajña. Why is it pure? This Kshetrajña is pure because it is not tainted by the combination of any Kshetra. So that Kshetrajña can be called absolute Kshetrajña where there is no trace of any Kshetra at all. Where there is no trace of any Drishya Vastu at all. It is pure Drashta. It is 100% Drashta where it is not tainted by, defiled by, made impure by any trace of Kshetra, any trace of Drishya Vastu. This pure consciousness is what is called as Param Atma. This Kshetrajña is what Bhagavan is saying as Kshetrajñam chapi Mam Vidhi. Know me as the Kshetrajña. Are you able to understand? So in all of us, that pure consciousness which can never become an object of study, which can never become the Drishya Vastu, which can never become the Kshetra, that Kshetrajña is none other than the Supreme Lord. Right? To the extent Kshetra enters into this Kshetrajña, to that extent Kshetrajña starts becoming impure. To the extent Kshetra starts getting included in the Kshetrajña starts becoming impure. The purest Kshetrajña is that where there is no trace of any Kshetra. Right. Now, another law. The moment a particular Kshetra becomes a part of Kshetrajña, that Kshetrajña will not be able to objectify that Kshetra. Once again, the moment a particular Kshetra becomes a part of that Kshetrajña, that impure Kshetrajña will not be able to objectify, will not be able to observe that particular Kshetra. It becomes incapable of observing that Kshetra. Why? Because now that Kshetra is a part of Kshetrajña, it is a part of the observer, it cannot be observed. Have you understood? Remember, there are different levels of Kshetrajña. We have seen. We have seen. Different purity levels are there. The highest is Bhagavan, no doubt. But in between, so many it gets mixed up. Sometimes the Kshetrajña, eyes get mixed up, mind get mixed up, intellect. To that extent these mixing up happens, to that extent that Kshetrajña becomes impure, to that extent that Kshetrajña will not be able to objectify that Kshetra which has become a part of Kshetrajña. These are the fundamental things to be known. So when Bhagavan is saying, Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi, which Kshetrajña are we talking of? Not the impure ones, the relative ones, the inferior ones, where lot of Kshetras have got mixed up. No, we are talking of that ultimate Kshetrajña, which is able to know all Kshetras without any exception. Then that state is called the state of Paramatma, which Bhagavan is introducing himself. Right. Another term for this Kshetrajña is Atma. Atma means what? I. So just like we have Kshetrajña and Kshetra, the observer of Kshetra is called Kshetrajña. The observed thing is called Kshetra. Just like we have two entities, in the same way we have two entities here. I, Atma, not I, Anatma. It is nothing but the same thing. I means Atma. Not I means Anatma. The same way we can see. Whatever I observe is not me. This is a law. Whatever I see is not me. So, drishya vastu cannot be drashta. Drashta and drishya, they have to be different. This is a law. The observing entity and the observed entity, they must be different, they must be separate. It is not possible that one and the same entity can become the observer and the observed. It is not possible. Drashta and drishya, they have to be two different things. So I am the drashta, everything in front of me is a drishya vastu. So I am able to see the mind, so mind become drishya, I become drashta. Finally I am able to see my ego also, so ego become drishya, I become drashta. So who am I now? I am that pure Atma, everything else is Anatma. Now this is another term, that's all. Concept is the same. So the purest Atma has to be the purest Kshetrajña. So therefore, what is the conclusion? Conclusion is that Paramatma is my own Atma. What is Param Atma? Param Atma means Supreme Atma, Supreme I. What is Supreme I? Supreme I is that I which doesn't have any trace of not I. Supreme Atma is that Atma where there is no trace of Anatma. Just like the Supreme Kshetrajña is that Kshetrajña where there is no trace of Kshetra. Drishya vastu is not there at all in Drashta. Then that Drashta is the purest Drashta, the highest Drashta. So Param Atma is that Atma where there is no trace of Anatma. So who is Paramatma? Bhagavan says it is me. So therefore this consciousness in all of us, the pure consciousness in all of us, which is constantly witnessing everything, which is not becoming a part of the witnessed object, this pure consciousness is none other than the Supreme Lord, which is none other than my own Aham, the I principle. I am, which we are saying. Who is this I? It is none other than Bhagavan himself. Is this much clear? Clear? Yes. Shall we go to the next stage? Yes. Now, let us discuss what is called as identification theory based on this context. Identification theory. What is that theory? When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. We have discussed it very many times. When entity A identifies with entity B, the properties of B appear to be the properties of A. What is the example? Film theatre example. When I identify with the film character, that character, if he is miserable, I also become miserable. If the hero is happy, I am happy. If the hero is miserable, I am miserable. Why? This is called as identification. Remember, identification means attachment. Now, don't get scared by this term identification. Getting attached. So now, identification theory in this context. When Atma identifies with Anatma, the properties of Anatma as though become the properties of Atma. When Kshetrajña identifies with Kshetra, the properties of Kshetra as though become the properties of Kshetrajña. When Drashta identifies with the Drishya, the properties of Drishya Vastu become as though the properties of Drashta. Is it clear? This is called as identification. Now, what are the properties of this Atma or the Kshetrajña? We are talking of the highest now. Now we will not, in between Kshetrajña and all, we will not. Whenever we say Kshetrajña, now understand it is pure consciousness. Sat Chit Ananda Atma. By the way, what should be the nature of such a Drashta? The ultimate Drashta, the ultimate seer, what should be the nature of that ultimate seer? Can there be any limitation? How will you logically say? The ultimate Drashta cannot have any limitation, because if it is seeing any limitation, the limitation becomes Drishya Vastu. And Drishya is not Drashta. Are you able to see it? Seeing limitation means what? That limited thing is Drishya Vastu. Feeling limitation means what? That object which you are feeling, which you are experiencing, whatever, it is a Drishya Vastu. So all those limitations will belong to the Drishya Vastu and not the Drashta. So therefore, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is Drashta has to be free from limitations. It's a heavy dose. If you are experiencing limitation, then means what? That limitation becomes a Drishya Vastu. Means what? That limitation cannot be Drashta because it is a Drishya Vastu. Limitation has gone to the Drishya Vastu, so therefore that limitation doesn't belong to the Drashta. So therefore, what is the nature of Drashta? Drashta becomes limitless, infinite, Ananta. So therefore the conclusion is, Drashta has to be free from all limitations. Because if you experience limitation, then that becomes a Drishya Vastu. Drishya doesn't mean that always seeing in front. No? Drishya means experiencing also. Experience of a property is also Drishyam only, observing. So therefore, Drashta has to be free from all limitations. It has to be Ananta Swarupa, infinite. Anything which is free from limitation has to be infinite. So the self in me is infinite. Number 2, anything which is free from limitation should be free from all sorrows also. Because it is the limitation which brings in sorrow. Any sorrow, there will be some limitation. Yes or no? Sorrow is born out of limitation. It is the limitation which is the mother of sorrow. So if there is an entity which is free from all limitation, what is the second conclusion? It has to be free from all sorrows. Put in another way, it has to be Ananda Swarupa. It is not only Ananta Swarupa, it has to be Ananda Swarupa also. And since it is free from all limitation, conclusion number 3, it has to be Amrita Swarupa also. Amrita means what? No death, no decay, no change. That is Amritattvam, immortality. So therefore, what is the conclusion? The Drashta, which is Kshetrajña, is Ananta Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa and Amrita Swarupa. Agreed? So this we are talking of this Drashta, this Atma, this Kshetrajña. Who is this fellow? It is our true nature. It is me. Aham Brahma Asmi. It is the real me. Not transactional me, real me. Who is real me? Real me is me which doesn't have any trace of not me. The real Atma is that which has no trace of Anatma. Body, mind, intellect, they all belong to the categories of Anatma because they are all Kshetras. So that Kshetrajña, which has no trace of any Kshetra in it, that Kshetrajña is Bhagavan, that Kshetrajña is my true self, the Supreme Self. So therefore I can say, I am all perfect, the true I. It is Ananda Swarupa, Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa, Amrita Swarupa. Right? Everything perfect. That is my nature. That is me. There is no trace of any imperfection in me. Chidananda Swarupaha Shivoham Shivoham, the most auspicious. That is me. Right? Then what is the mistake we have done? The mistake is identification. So what is identification theory? When this Kshetrajña, when this Atma, Nitya Shuddha Mukta Atma, when this identifies with Anatma, what is the law? The properties of Anatma as though become the properties of Atma. The properties of Kshetra as though it becomes the properties of Kshetrajña. Means what? Now, the Atma is no more Atma. The Paramatma is no more Paramatma after identification. Paramatma is dead, Jivatma is born. Why? Because that is what is identification. That's what it does. The moment Atma identifies with Anatma, Atma no longer experiences the perfections of Atma. It starts experiencing the imperfections of Anatma. Why? That is the law. You become identified with someone, that someone's property you will start experiencing. So what are the properties of anatma? So whenever I say anatma, remember body, mind, intellect mainly. What is body? Full of limitation, full of imperfection. Asti, jayate, vardhate, vipranamate, apakshiyate, vinashyate. Sixfold modification. It exists in the womb of the mother, born from the womb, grows, matures, decays, dies. This is the biography of every body. So when I am identifying with that imperfect kshetra called body, what will I experience? I will not experience the perfection of Atma. I will start experiencing the imperfections of Anatma. When I, the perfect Atma, identifies with the imperfect Anatma, what will be my experience? Not the perfection of Atma, but the imperfections of Anatma. Body is imperfect, mind is imperfect, intellect is imperfect. The moment I identify, I start experiencing the imperfections of the BMI. Will I be happy with this experience of imperfection? Will I be happy? No. Why I will not be happy? I will not be happy because my nature is perfection. My nature is Ananda Sarupa. I cannot be happy with Dukkha Sarupa BMI. So this running around in this world, constantly experiencing this limitation, trying to get rid of this misery, this limitation, this is what is called as samsara, transmigration. Constant experience of change, constant experience of miseries and limitations, imperfections. This constant experience is called as samsara. Now, who is the culprit? This identification has created the problem, isn't it? Who has created this identification? It is done by none other than our own mind. Identification happens with our mind. Problem has been created by identification. So what should be the solution? Disidentification should be the solution. Now this mind is a very interesting entity. Who is the mother of this mind? It is called as Maya. Maya Shakti. What is Maya Shakti? So in Shastras, the description is, it is that inexplicable power of the Lord. Maya is defined like this. That power cannot be defined, it cannot be explained what it is. That inexplicable power of the Lord, which is called as Maya Shakti, mind is the beloved child of that Maya. The product of Maya. What is the Maya Shakti? What does she do? So the scripture says, she has two powers. She is very, very powerful lady. She has two powers. What are the two powers? One is called as Avarana Shakti. The other is called as Vikshepa Shakti. Avarana Shakti means one power is the power to cover. It covers the reality, then it projects what is unreal. This is what Maya Maharani does. It covers the reality with one power, that's Avarana Shakti, then Vikshepa. It projects what is not there. The reality is covered, the unreality is projected. Then what will happen? We are finished then. And what does Bhagavan say? Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. Nobody can win over my Maya. Finished. And what is this Maya doing? The unreal thing is projected as though it is real. Oh, who can escape? And this Maya Maharani's beloved child is our mind. So what will the mind also do? It will do the same thing what the mother is doing. Cover the reality, project the unreality. So what is this mind doing? It covers this great truth that we are all Paramatmas, and it projects the untruth that we are useless Jivatmas. What is it doing? It is covering the truth that we are all the Kshetrajña, the Supreme Self. It is covering. And what is it projecting? You are not that Supreme Self. You are this body, this imperfect body. This it projects. This is what our mind does. How does it do? It does it by identification. So when you are identifying what is happening, two things are happening. Number one, you cease to experience your perfect nature, that is avarana. Second, you start experiencing that imperfection which is not your nature. Vikshepa. You are made to believe that you are the body. You are made to believe that you are the mind and the intellect. That is called as Vikshepa. Projecting which is unreal, which is not true. Avarana, covering that you are the truth, that you are the self. Vikshepa, projecting that you are the non-self. This is what the mind is also doing. The mind which is a product of Maya. So now what is happening? We are completely bound into this body, mind, intellect, packed, sealed. We are thoroughly convinced. What is our conviction? I am this body only. How can I be Paramatma? So thoroughly convinced. Fully into the trap of Maya. Now, is there a way in which we can come out? The answer is yes. Identification created the problem. So what should be the solution? Disidentification is the solution. Disidentify from what you are not. Identify with what you are. This is the solution. Who has to do it? Mind has to do it. Mind should be made capable of disidentifying from the non-self, the BMI. The mind should be capable of identifying with the Supreme Self. How to make the mind capable? Now this is the next question. How to make the mind capable? So the answer is, that mind which is free from Rajas and Tamas, that mind which is Sattvic, such a mind can do this wonder. That mind which is filled with Sattvic quality, that mind which is filled with purity, goodness, nobility, such a mind can easily disidentify from the BMI, the non-self. It can identify with the self. Now the question is, how to make the mind a Sattvic mind? How to make the mind pure mind? So the solution is cultivation of all noble virtues. This is the next topic now. All these things I have told only to enter into the next topic. So, verse number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These 5 verses, list of virtues are given which we have to cultivate so that the mind becomes pure, Sattvic. Why the mind has to be purified? It is this mind which has to disidentify from the BMI and identify with the Supreme Self. Any mind will not do, only a pure mind can do. The mind has to be purified. How to purify the mind? These are the values. Now let us chant 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Amanitvamadambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा टुगेदर अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा. Yes. Etat jnanam, this is knowledge. Ajnanam yat ataha anyatha. Everything else is ajnanam only. Very interestingly, Bhagavan is giving a list of virtues, and these virtues are called as jnanam. Very interesting. See the last line, Etat jnanam, verse number 12. Etat jnanam iti proktam. This is knowledge. Means what? A person who has these virtues, for him gaining knowledge is just a cakewalk. It's very, very easy. Etat jnanam. Remember, one of the question of Arjuna was jnanam neyam. So this is how Bhagavan is describing jnanam. He is not describing jnanam as, the nature of the ultimate truth and all. No! He is saying these values you practice, that itself is knowledge. So much importance is given to these values. Why are we struggling in spirituality? We are struggling because these virtues are not there. If you have these virtues, in good measure, jnanam is very easy. So now let us see, one by one. Now, let me tell you, I am not going to go into detail. Why, Swamiji? Because we have no time. If we start discussing this, there are 20 values here. Each value will take one day. So how many days are needed? So therefore, I am not going to deal with these values. But let me tell you, last year, January 2001, I had taken a yajna only on these values, these 5 verses. In detail explaining each and every value. Amanitvam, what is it? Complete. 7 days I have spoken only on these values. All those talks are there on YouTube. Now it is very easy for me now. So you have to just type in value of values. Type my name also. I am sure very many of you don't know my name. Such a long name it is. So you will find all these 7 talks there. Also, based on these values, we have released a book also, and the name of the book is Indispensable Values. It is there in the bookstore. So in this book, with lot of stories and anecdotes and this and that, each and every value has been thoroughly expounded, explained. Not only the values in 13th chapter, the values in 16th chapter also combined. So these are the 2 places where values come. 16th chapter and 13th chapter. Together we have combined, all these values have been explained in detail. That book is available. You may refer that book also. Right? So for the time being, because we don't have sufficient time, we'll just brush through these values. So first one, amanitvam. What is amanitvam? Absence of mana is amanitvam. Means absence of egotism. Put in another words, humility. Being humble. Amanitvam. Second one, adambhitvam. Absence of dambha. What is dambha? Hypocrisy. Showing off. I am a great man. That kind of thing. That is called a dambha. Adambhitvam. No showing off. In fact, manitvam and dambhitvam, they go together. Greater the ego, greater will be the showing off also. Always they go together. So, be humble, be simple, be down to earth, be a nobody in your own eyes. Be insignificant in your own eyes. If you can have this, then this spiritual knowledge is yours. That's the point. Then you can very clearly experience that Lord seated in your heart. This is the meaning. This way you have to understand every value. To the extent your mind is clean, pure, to that extent you will easily find that Lord seated in your heart, because it is your own self. So if at all you are not experiencing your own self, what does it mean? Some obstacle is there. What is the obstacle? Mind is the obstacle. What kind of mind? Impure mind. Arrogant mind, egoistic mind, sensuous mind, extroverted mind. Right? So make your mind pure. Then you will experience it. It's already there. You don't have to create God in your heart. He is already there. The only effort is purifying this mind. So these are the values we must have to cultivate in our life. This is the message, right? So, amanitvam. Be humble. Adambhitvam. Stop this showing off business. Then ahimsa. Never hurt anyone by thought, word or deed. Never hurt anyone. Because there is nobody other than you. So when you are hurting others, whom are you hurting? You are hurting yourself. Because the self is the same in all. Ahimsa, non-violence. Kshanti, when others hurt you, what you should do? Forgive. Kshama, kshanti means kshama, forgive others. Don't have that feeling of revenge, bitterness, hatred, etc. Forgive. Kshanti. Arjavam, be straightforward. By thought, word and deed, be straightforward. Inside something, outside something else, don't do that. You are then defiling your mind, making your mind impure. Arjavam. Acharya upasanam. Upasana means service of the teacher. Serve your teacher with all humility, with all affection, with all love. That purifies the mind. Shaucham, purity. Purity at the physical level, purity at the mental level. So whenever you are going to do something, always think about the purity of intention. The intention should be always pure. So that is the mental purity. Physical purity, we all know. So keep your body and mind pure. Shaucham. Sthiryam. Sthiryam means what? Stiratabhavam, firm. Means what? That never say die attitude. In spirituality, this attitude is very essential. Very many times we discover lot of negativities in us, especially when we come to spiritual classes and all. Only then we come to know, oh my God, how much of negativity I have. Because till then our attention is outside. Therefore, we don't know what is happening inside. In spiritual classes, what happens? You are forced to turn within. And when you look within, you find lot of negativity. So very many people get discouraged. So the point is, don't get discouraged. Keep moving on. Don't give up. How much ever inefficiencies, imperfections you may feel, you may see in yourself, don't give up. Keep moving. Sthiryam. Thus that attitude of fortitude, of perseverance is called sthiryam. This is also very important. You will find that if you have sthiryam, all the other virtues will automatically come. So this is a very great value, sthiryam. Then atma vinigraha. Vinigraha means control, conquering. Vinigraha. Conquer what? Atma. This Atma means what? It is not Paramatma or... In Bhagavad Gita, you have to be very careful with this term Atma. Because this Atma can have very many meanings depending upon the context. Here, Atma means mind and the senses. You can say body also. Body, mind and the senses. Controlling it means what? It is nothing but Dhamma. Controlling the mind and the senses. Atma vinigraha. Then, Indriyartheshu vairagyam. Vairagyam means dispassion. Dispassion towards Indriya Artha. What is Indriya Artha? Sense objects. Dispassion towards sense objects. Dispassion means disinterest. Indriyartheshu vairagyam. Anahankara. Absence of ahankara. Absence of identification with the body. Ahankara. Or it can be other way also. Whenever you do something, don't say, I did it. Everything happened because of me. Don't do that. Say, by grace of God, everything happened. And you should truly mean it also. There are very many people who say all this, but deep down they know, I only did it. So whenever you do things, let there be no doership in action. This is also an expression of humility only. Anahankara. Then Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Anudarshanam. May you constantly see. Anudarshanam. What? Dukkham. I mean dosham. Dosha anudarshanam. May you constantly see this defect. Dosha anudarshanam. What defect? The defect of sorrow. Dukkha doshanu darshanam. May you constantly see throughout your life, in all your experiences, may you constantly see this defect of sorrow. Where? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Janma is dukkham. Birth is dukkham. Mrityu is dukkham. Death is dukkham. Jara, old age is dukkham. Vyadhi, disease is dukkham. So is it a wonderful thing to take the body and come to this world? Never. No, foolish people you will find him, I am ready to take any number of births and come to this world. And don't talk nonsense. For your sake. All these lovers, etc., they speak all this nonsense. Are bhaiya, anudarshanam is missing. Be in touch with the reality of life. In this world, if you are born in a body, maybe because of very many punyas you are born, in a very great family you are born, okay, even then, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi cannot be avoided. It is misery only. Right? Be in touch with the reality of life. It is miserable to be born. So all our discussion, all our studies for what? To get rid of this rebirth business. It's horrible. Anudarshanam, constantly seeing. Everywhere you must see this. There is no joy in this world. There is only misery. There is only misery. Concentrated misery. It is only the foolish people who can enjoy this world. If I am enjoying this world, understand I am foolish. I am rank foolish. If I am enjoying this world, I must pity myself. Bhagavan, look at me. Horrible fellow. In spite of studying all this Gita, etc., still I am craving for enjoyment in this world, Bhagavan. We must pity ourselves when our mind is craving for these pleasures. The more and more you become serious about life, the more and more you become wise, the more and more you become mature. This is what happens. Dukkha dosha anudarsana. You see only pain everywhere. Everything is pain. Look at that Buddha. Just once he had come out of that palace, one fellow was lying there. What happened to you? I am sick, disease, I am suffering. So Buddha immediately thought, oh, that means I will also fall sick someday or the other. Then he saw another person, old man. Buddha had never seen an old man, which is a wonder. What happened to you? So this charioteer says, he is old. So tomorrow, one day, same thing will come to me also? Yes, same thing will come to everyone. Third one, Ram Nam Satyahai was happening. Dead man. What happened to that person? He is dead. Dead? Yes. So same thing will happen to me also? Yes, same thing will happen to you also. Finished. Buddha renounced the world. What must be that height of, vairagya? Saw one sample and finished. What is our case? It is happening to us. But even then, there is no vairagya at all. We are waiting for the next birth. Look at that. Dukkha dosha anudarshana. Amazing values they are. Anyway, the other we will see tomorrow. Such a qualified mind, it does disidentification easily. Disidentification from the miserable world, identification with the blissful self. Such an educated, pure mind is the qualification. Right. Atma Rama Ananda Ramana Achyuta Keshava Hari Narayana Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana രഘുകുലഭൂഷണ രാജീവലോചന ആദിനാരായണ അനന്തശയന സച്ചിദാനന്ദ സത്യനാരായണ ഭവഭയഹരണ വന്ദിതചരണ രഘുകുലഭൂഷണ രാജീവലോചന ആത്മാരാമാനന്ദരമണ ആനന്ദരമണ. ഓം സർവേ ഭവന്തു സുഖിനഃ സർവേ സന്തു നിരാമയാഃ സർവേ ഭദ്രാണി പശ്യന്തു മാ കശ്ചിത് ദുഃഖഭാഗ് ഭവേത്. അസതോ മാ സദ്ഗമയ തമസോ മാ ജ്യോതിർഗമയ മൃത്യോർമാ അമൃതം ഗമയ. ഓം ശാന്തി ശാന്തി ശാന്തി. ഹരി ഓം ശ്രീ ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. ഹരി ഓം.